how to shrimp farm into profitability. This net full of shrimp, it's more than a hobby, it's a real source of income. But let's be real, you're probably worried that starting a shrimp farm at home is just a fast track to losing money, a project that costs more than it ever makes back. I get it. You see the setup costs. You hear the horror stories about a whole tank dying overnight, and you think making a profit is impossible. I'm going to show you how I turned my small home setup into a venture that actually pays. It all boils down to two things: keeping your costs in check and getting your survival rates way up, and you can do it too. That fear of your shrimp farm becoming a total money pit, it's completely valid. So many new farmers make a few common, expensive mistakes that turn their passion project into a financial headache. They'll go out and buy a bunch of fancy equipment they don't need, thinking more expensive gear means you can't fail. Another huge one is overstocking the tank. It feels like you're being productive, cramming all those shrimp in there, but it's really just a fast track to stress, disease, and a total wipeout. The biggest one though, neglecting water quality. One tiny mistake in your water chemistry, and you can lose every single shrimp and your entire investment with them. Disease outbreaks can destroy your profits if you aren't on top of things. That's when people give up, convinced that making money from a home shrimp farm is just a fantasy. But it's not. You just need a game plan, so let's build one. Look, the path to making money with this isn't about having the fanciest setup or some secret trick. It's about being smart and focused. Success really comes down to controlling your costs from day one and doing everything you can to keep your shrimp alive and thriving. So, we're going to walk through the 5 key steps to get you there. We'll cover setting up on a budget, picking the right shrimp that are tough and actually in demand, and mastering your water quality to keep survival rates high. We'll also get into smart feeding strategies to cut down your biggest cost, and then the fun part, how to harvest and sell for the best price. By the end, you'll have a clear blueprint. You'll see the only thing separating a failing hobby from a profitable business is knowing what to do and actually doing it. Step 1, your starter setup without breaking the bank. Your road to profit starts way before you buy a single shrimp. It starts with a smart, budget-friendly setup. You absolutely do not need to drop a ton of money on brand new, top-of-the-line gear. In fact, you can get going with some really basic stuff. Think large food-grade tubs, a small backyard pond, or even an old swimming pool. The goal is just to have something that holds water securely. Check online marketplaces or farm supply stores. You can often find used aquariums or tubs for way less than new. The two things you can't skip are aeration and filtration. Shrimp need well-oxygenated water to thrive, especially as the population grows. A simple air pump with an air stone is cheap and gets the job done. For a filter, a basic sponge filter is perfect. It gives you mechanical and biological filtration, and it won't suck up your baby shrimp. Look, the biggest mistake people make is buying high-tech gadgets right away. You don't need automatic feeders or fancy electronic testers when you're starting out. Just get the essentials: a solid container, reliable aeration, and a basic filter. And write down what you spend. Knowing your startup cost is going to be critical later when you figure out your profit. Every dollar you save here is a dollar of pure profit later on. Step 2, pick the right shrimp. Alright, setup's ready, time for the fun part. Now, not all shrimp are created equal, especially when you're trying to turn a profit as a beginner. You're looking for a species that people actually want to buy, is tough enough to handle a few mistakes, and breeds pretty fast. For most people starting out, ornamental dwarf shrimp are the way to go, specifically Neocaridina davidi or red cherry shrimp. You can't go wrong, they are super popular in the aquarium hobby, so there's always a market. Plus, they're very forgiving with water conditions and breed like crazy, which means your population can grow fast. You can start with just a small group and have hundreds to sell in a few months. Now, if you're thinking about selling shrimp for food, Pacific white shrimp or Litopenaeus vonnae are the industry standard. They grow fast, hitting a sellable size in just 120 to 150 days. But they need more space, and you have to manage saltwater conditions, so they're definitely a more advanced project for a home setup. Whatever you choose, find a good local breeder or a certified hatchery. Don't buy the cheapest imported shrimp you can find. It seems like a good deal, but they're often stressed and sick, and you could lose them all. Paying a bit more for healthy local shrimp is the smartest money you'll spend. It just sets you up for success from the get-go. And ask the breeder for their water parameters so you can match them. It'll make the move way less stressful for your new shrimp. Step 3, keep them alive with great water. Listen up, because this is the most important part of the whole thing. You can have the best gear and the most expensive shrimp, but if your water quality is bad, you will not make money. It's that simple. The number one thing that determines profit is survival rate. The big commercial farms shoot for 70 to 80% survival. Anything under 60% and they're losing money, your goal should be the same. Keep as many shrimp alive as you can. The 3 parameters you need to watch like a hawk are pH, ammonia, and nitrates. Get a good liquid test kit. They're way more accurate than the strips. Test your water constantly at first to see how your tank cycles. For Neocaridina shrimp, a stable pH between 7.0 and 8.0 is what you want. Ammonia is just straight up poison. It should always be at 0. Nitrates are less deadly but need to be kept low, preferably under 20 parts per million, which you manage with regular water changes. A 10 to 20% water change once a week is a great place to start. It pulls out the bad stuff and adds back good minerals. Just make sure the new water is dechlorinated and the same temperature so you don't shock your shrimp. And finally, you have to be serious about biosecurity. That's just a fancy word for preventing disease. Always quarantine new shrimp in a separate tank for a few weeks before they join the main colony so you can watch for sickness. Don't throw anything into your tank without cleaning it first. An outbreak can wipe you out overnight. I know testing water isn't the fun part, but it's the absolute foundation of a profitable farm. Step 4, feed smart, save money. Your biggest ongoing cost by far is going to be food. Feed can easily be 40 to 60% of your total running costs, so getting this right is huge for your bottom line. The goal is to give them enough high quality food to grow fast, but not overfeed and pollute the water, which is just throwing money away. A term you might hear is feed conversion ratio, or FCR. It's just a measure of how much feed it takes to produce 1 kilogram of shrimp. A lower FCR means you're being more efficient. Even with ornamental shrimp where you aren't measuring by weight, the principle is the same. Don't waste food. Only feed them what they can clean up in a couple of hours. Once or twice a day is usually plenty. Overfeeding is probably the #1 mistake beginners make. All that leftover food rots, creates ammonia, and messes up your water. An easy trick is to use a little feeding dish. It keeps the food in one spot so you can see what's being eaten and pull out any leftovers. As for what to feed, get a high quality shrimp pellet with plenty of protein. You can mix it up with stuff like blanched vegetables or algae wafers. A varied diet means healthier, more colorful, and faster growing shrimp. When you feed smart, you cut your biggest cost, you keep your water cleaner, and you get higher survival rates. Step 5, cashing in, how to harvest and sell. You've put in the work for months, and now it's time for the payoff. Knowing when and how to sell is the last piece of the puzzle. For ornamental shrimp, you want to sell them when they have great color and a decent size, but before the tank gets too crowded. For food shrimp, they're typically ready in about 120 to 150 days when they hit a marketable size of about 20 to 40 grams. So, where do you sell them? The best way is to sell directly to people. You cut out the middleman and keep all the profit. For your cherry shrimp, check out online forums, local aquarium clubs, or sites like Aquaswap. You can get a much better price per shrimp selling directly to other hobbyists than you would to a local pet store. Just make sure to take really good, clear photos that show off their color and health. If you're selling food shrimp, your best bet is local restaurants and farmers markets. Chefs love fresh, local ingredients and will often pay a premium for them. Walk in with a sample and be ready to talk about how you raise them. Telling them your shrimp are locally and sustainably farmed is a huge selling point. You could even sell straight to consumers through a small farm stand or online for local pickup. Wherever you sell, what matters most is consistency and quality. If you get a reputation for selling great shrimp, people will keep coming back and tell their friends. That's the best marketing you can get. And that's really the core of it. We've covered the 5 keys to turning a shrimp hobby into something that actually makes you money. It all comes down to a pretty simple formula. Keep your setup costs low. Pick a tough and popular shrimp. Obsess over your water to keep them alive. Be smart with your feed and sell direct to get the best price. Success here isn't about luck. It's about being careful and making smart choices. You have the game plan now to avoid the mistakes most people make and build a profitable little farm right at home. And trust me, the demand for high quality, locally raised shrimp, whether for a fish tank or a dinner plate, is only going up. If this was helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Now I want to hear from you. What's the single biggest challenge you're running into with your own setup? Or if you're just thinking about starting, what's your biggest question? Drop a comment below. I read them all and will do my best to help out. Thanks for watching and happy farming.